Hello, and welcome to the MathWorks. This short video will go through a brief description of the Revenue Accounting and Controls Group. My name is Steve Becerra. I'm the manager of that group. I've been managing in this function for over 15 years and been part of the MathWorks for over 25. The Revenue Accounting and Control Group is an entry-level position that looks for students coming from a variety of business backgrounds, so accounting, finance, business, economics. The idea behind the position is give folks the opportunity to learn essentially how a software company operates. So we're working within operations, accounting, and finance. The idea behind it is to get in, develop what I consider to be transferable skills, and ultimately most of the folks from our group end up transferring into other areas of the business, whether it's through a variety of accounting roles, some finance and analytical roles through our FP&A group, business model. We've had folks that have gone into sales operations, marketing operations, and even to the sales organization, as well as our treasury and tax departments. To give a quick description of the three core functions, the operations piece is working closely with the sales organization. Sales is trying to deliver products to our customers. So for that transaction to come through, first a quote is generated, but then the documentation comes in. Customers could include purchase orders or contracts, tax-exempt certificates, as well as export compliance paperwork. So part of our function is to review all that documentation and make sure that all the pieces match up and meet the requirements that we have to essentially create a binding contract with our customers before we deliver the products out to the customer. If everything matches up, we're taking those quotes, converting them to an order, releasing the order, and getting the products delivered out to the customer. And by releasing that order, there's a lot of information that flows through our system. So this is part of the reason why we look for folks with a business background, so you can understand the pieces and the downstream impacts. So whether it's impacting the accounting, the reporting, the revenue recognition, impacts sales and use tax, as well as commissions, and then ultimately the products and the install base for the customers. Again, once the order is released, that kind of kicks off our accounting functions. So a lot of the transactions, the debits and credits are happening behind the scenes. But each person on our team will have what I would consider to be a small and manageable accounts receivable portfolio. Now, it's not hardcore collections. The customers buy our products because they need them and they want them in the development process. It's also activated software. So if we have trouble collecting from a customer, we can deactivate the software. So it gives them a nice incentive to make sure they make their payments in a timely fashion. But our customers buy our products. They know how much it costs. Most of our collection efforts go through either email, through a web portal, and then occasionally we do have to reach out and call the customers to follow up and figure out what's going on in the process and why there's delays for the payment. Part of the reason why we marry these two functions together is when we don't get paid in a timely fashion. If there's something that we could have done differently to make that process smoother, we learn that during that collection phase, and we can apply it to the next transactions to prevent those errors from taking place again in the future. From an accounting perspective, we also get involved in a variety of audits as well as balance sheet reconciliations. So from an audit perspective, we have the financial audit on an annual basis where PricewaterhouseCoopers comes in. They'll make their selections for the various transactions. We're pulling that supporting documentation together, putting together a storyline if it needs some explanation, and essentially helping them to verify that the work that we've done is correct and accurate and properly reflected on our financial statements. I mentioned sales and use tax. We basically collect and remit sales and use tax in every state. And each state handles their sales and use tax exemptions a little differently. So you'll learn more about sales and use tax than you ever thought was possible. Now, an interesting fact with the MathWorks is from a dollar perspective, the majority of our transactions, the majority of the dollars, about 80% of the transactions end up not being charged tax for a variety of reasons. So we have to understand that before we can release those orders and get them out to the customers. And then other audits, we may get involved in some internal audits or reviews of our practices to make sure that the controls that we have in place that we're following and we're consistent across the board. From a finance perspective, we do some reporting and analysis. on both our financial results, our revenue results, as well as our operational results. Now, typical with reporting and analysis, it's not necessarily something that everybody across the team's doing on a daily basis, but the idea behind it is to develop those skills in terms of where to gather the data, how to pull it together, put it into a digestible format, and again develop those foundation skills with some of the reporting and analysis. So we get involved in a variety of things, whether it's some metrics to measure our performance, our key performance indicators, where if we're not hitting those goals, we'll dig into it a little bit to make sure we understand the why, and ultimately put some practices in place to be able to get those defects cleaned up and back on track for our KPIs. The idea behind the role is to give you a variety of areas. We have folks that come from a variety of backgrounds, whether it's accounting or finance, economics or business, that tend to gravitate more towards areas where they have natural skills, and we try to foster those skills and develop the areas where you're more passionate about, and ultimately, hopefully move on to the next step in your career at the MathWorks within those areas. Over the years, we've done a lot of recruiting through with Bryant, when we've had a high success rate. We have a number of folks who have come in from our group into other functions and even multiple steps in their career at the MathWorks. We've had a good relationship, and we would love to take the opportunity to talk with you and tell you a little bit more about the position. There's a couple of different ways that you can learn more about the function or about the role. One is through the BCC. You can apply there. The resumes will come to us, or you can go directly to the MathWorks website, and under the career section down at the bottom, if you search the revenue accounting and controls position, you'll find a position there that you can apply to. And we essentially keep this position open year round because we have a team of about 15 folks, and generally within 2 to 3 years, folks are looking for that next opportunity in their career. And a lot of times, managers are coming from other areas and recruiting from us, essentially pulling from us, because we act as a feeder system for the organization. They know they're getting quality candidates who have an understanding of the MathWorks, the systems, the core values. So really be able to hit the ground running when they join up with the other teams. So we look forward to meeting you. And please, if you have any questions, feel free to contact me directly. My name is Steve Basara at MathWorks. You can look me up on LinkedIn. The information is on the Hire website, and look forward to speaking with you. Thank you.